course we are doing, which is agricultural mechanization in Ghana. And I've just selected this cassava because this crop is not experiencing any mechanization. But from the research we are doing in Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, where we have actually invented a mechanical cassava harvester, the first of its kind in Africa, we want to actually establish the reputation that we are actually going to use cassava as a flagship crop in this university. And for those of you who are the first generation of students studying mechanization, and then with the development in agriculture, cassava harvester, I want you to be exposed to the way cassava can be cultivated or produced on a large scale for mechanized agriculture. You know, cassava traditionally in our country here is for food security on a smallholder level. But it will interest you to know that cassava has got a huge potential to become a multi-billion industry if we just inject some few engineering technologies into it. And one of such technologies is actually the harvesting. Harvesting cassava, especially during the dry season, is a pain, is a time-wasting activity, and it is full of drudgery. And because of that, it is not even attractive to the youth. So to make it attractive to the youth, we have removed that bottleneck, which is that dry season harvesting. That's why we have the KNUST, we have invented the tech mechanical cassava harvester.
Professor Emmanuel Bobobi is at the Department of Agriculture and Biosystem Engineering. He is out with his agri-class student on a mechanized farm to have a feel of innovative methods of cassava cultivation. Here, the crop is planted on ridges instead of the usual flat ground.
I have been teaching them in the classroom a subject that is related to mechanization, agricultural mechanization in Ghana. And we have a crop that actually is mechanized on a large scale is rice, but we don't have one close by. But because of my own research interest in cassava, I've established this field which more or less mimics a mechanized plantation. So having taught them the theory in the class, even I've showed them some video clips and other things from this one, I want to bring them here for them to have a first-hand experience on how this thing that they are hearing or seeing in the classroom actually pertains on the field. So it is an essence to expose them to the real situation on a typical research station where mechanized cassava is being done, for them to see.
Some of the students shared their thoughts on the method.
And how would you convince a local farmer to embark on this project? How would you convince them?
Okay, the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. When Ghana takes cassava as an industrial crop, I believe that the sky is the limit for Ghana. And it's just by talking to them. You see, when we undergo research training and we undergo how to be an extension agent and how to talk to the farmers. You talk to them in a language they understand.
Planting on the ridges and planting in rows will help harvesting very easier, and the outcome or the result will be very, very fruitful because the damage of the crop will be low.
The way they have planted it in ridges, like I've not seen a cassava fruit like this before, so I'm really impressed by it.
How do you feel being here?
I'm very happy. This is the first time I visited a farm where a practical experiment is really done. We're always in the class learning and then we don't know exactly what's going on, but to be here is very, very interesting for me.
So when you go back to school, what would you tell your colleagues?
I'll tell them to try and then research on more things so that we're able to develop this in Ghana. It's very difficult, but if you're able to do it, I think it's very interesting.
What have you?
Ridges. Like we've heard about it, so I wanted to really look at it. You see, most of the time it's on plain field, but this is my first time of seeing cassava planted on ridges. Yeah, so that's why I'm here.
Your name?
Actually, I'm really motivated seeing this because over the years, all I see is planted on plains, and right now I've seen that it's done so that it can be mechanized. We're talking about the harvesting, and it can be planted on a very large scale, so I'm really motivated. Yeah.
So how would you be able to share this with farmers in your community?
Yeah, I would advise them that they should use or they should try to plant on ridges. It will actually help because even the tubers needs a loose soil to penetrate and grow bigger. And so when they are planted on hills, the tubers get that freedom to become very big and grows to a maximum yield. And I would encourage that it is grown in rows. It will help for production.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And being with Prof. Bobo makes the work easier.
And what have you learned so far?
Oh, I've really learned a lot because in class I've heard that Bobo told us that the ridges helps in the mechanization because the machine will be going over the ridges. So first you cut the cassava stem so that it leaves with stumps, so that it makes the harvesting easier. And when you are picking it, because of the stump, you can easily take it, and after that you can easily harvest it. You can easily grow the stalks that you've cut.
Cassava can increase Ghana's export earnings, enhance smallholder farmer incomes, create employment, and reduce import bills. It can be processed into chips, starch, ethanol, and flour. Reports of shortage of cassava in the country over the years could end if authorities leverage mechanized farming.
Me personally, I always give credit to President Kufuor's presidential special initiative on cassava. It was that time that has opened the eyes of Ghanaians to realize that cassava can also become an industrial crop, not just for food. And because of that interest, the demand is increasing. But then the supply base has not changed because people are still growing, using the traditional rudimentary, haphazard, smallholder farming. So once that market niche has opened for the industrial one, the domestic use consumption is also is competing. But at the same time too, the one major hurdle is the harvesting, especially during the dry season. Because of the way they plant and then the way the farms are organized, it is difficult to introduce any technology to harvest rapidly. So if this thing we are talking about, the lamentation I made at first that we need to promote this type of methodology of planting on ridges, and smallholder can also adopt it. The harvesting will be easier. With this technology available, the charter operators will harvest, and then every time there will be cassava in the system.
Professor Bobobi has an appeal to government.
We need support to be able to do this work, and then motivate the students to take up and then continue after we have left the sea.
Mahmud Mohammed-Nurudeen reporting.